You better hold on tight, spider monkey.
Oh,
I'm Erin.
I'm Tom.
This is Baby's First Watch List, probably in your top dozen favorite podcasts if you're one of our handfuls of regular listeners.
So many handfuls.
A couple of them. Today we're celebrating the start of autumn. Today's the first day of fall.
Oh yeah, it is.
With the teen classic
Classic.
Twilight.
Classic with two capital C's. The beginning
Wow.
and the end.
Bookending.
Yeah.
This 2008 romance fantasy movie is directed by Queen Catherine Hardwicke,
Yes.
who also directed 13 and Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah.
We loved 13.
I always wanted to watch Lords of Dogtown, but I thought it was kind of too gritty for me when I was younger. I don't know if it's gritty or, 13 was gritty.
I think I saw Lords of Dogtown.
Okay.
It's Anton Yelkin.
I think so.
Yeah. Is Heath Ledger in it?
I don't know. Go ahead.
But 13 is really good. If you haven't,
Emil Hirsch
it's Emil Hirsch
and Heath Ledger.
And Heath Ledger, isn't it good? So 13, if you haven't seen it, Catherine Hardwicke co-wrote it with Nikki Reed, who was in Twilight when Nikki Reed was like 15, and it was about when she was 13. And
When she was, she wrote it when she was 14.
Oh, she wrote it when she was 14, and it was about the previous year. And it stars her and Evan Rachel Wood and
Yes.
Holly Hunter.
Evan Rachel Wood's wild in that movie.
She is. The movie is very shocking.
It's dark.
It's dark. Jeremy Sisto's in it.
Yeah, he's like the neighbor guy or
No,
whatever.
he's the
Oh,
boyfriend.
No, the boyfriend.
The mom's boyfriend. And it's really good. It's very early 2000s.
And rated R.
And it's very rated R. Yeah, it's a little bit different than Twilight.
Won't be on Baby's First Watch List for a while.
For a little bit. She is super into movies that explore teen angst.
She is.
And this is on full display in Twilight. So Twilight was adapted from the 2005 novel by Stephanie Meyer, which was a major bestseller. It eventually made its way all the way up. What?
Do you know what the original title for Twilight is?
Okay, ready? Twilight was adapted from the 2005 novel by Stephanie Meyer, which was a major bestseller and was originally randomly titled Forks.
Forks.
I wrote it down. Yeah.
Why?
So it takes place in Forks, Washington, but nobody knows that. So you're just gonna look at a book and it's just gonna be Forks. And you're like,
and if there's an
spoons?
apple on the cover or whatever.
Yeah. You're like, is this a food book?
Yeah. Wow. Chef, the book.
Twilight is a way better title.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
And didn't she write another one from the point of view of Edward?
Called Midnight Sun.
Midnight Sun, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have not read Midnight Sun. Okay. But I have read all of the Twilight series.
I have not. I had seen this movie before, though. I haven't seen any of the sequels.
You should probably read the series.
I'm legitimately not opposed to reading the series.
Yeah, you should read it.
I don't care enough about what I do with my time.
It's a cultural phenomenon.
To not watch.
You would read them. You would read them like that. I read them in high school so quick. Yeah. They're fun. They're really fun. They get terrible by the end, but the first couple are pretty good. So the screenplay is by Melissa Rosenberg. Rosenberg wrote. She has a really interesting kind of career here. She wrote all 5 of the Twilight Saga movies. She also wrote Step Up.
Channing Tatum, our guy.
She was mainly known for TV. So she was a writer on The OC, which tracks with Twilight, to be honest with you. With
definitely
the quality
a
of the work.
similar target audience.
Yeah. She was nominated for 3 Emmys for her work writing on Dexter.
Okay.
And she is best
Must
known...
have been the good seasons.
Yeah, it was. It was the early seasons. And she's best known for creating and being the showrunner for Jessica Jones.
Oh, wow.
Which we loved the first season.
That also tracks.
Yeah, we loved the first season of Jessica Jones. The second season was some of the worst TV I've ever seen.
It was way too long and it was boring and it wasn't good.
No, but the first season's excellent.
Yeah.
Cinematographer Elliot Davis. He works often with Hardwicke, but also with Steven Soderbergh.
Oh, okay.
And he does a ton of stuff. The music is by Carter Burwell, who should be probably more of a name than he is.
Yeah.
He works often with the Coen brothers. He's done most of the Coen brother movies.
He's done every Coen brothers movie except for Inside Llewyn Davis and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Right.
Which are the ones that are musical.
Yes.
Musically
so that's
inclined.
Kind of funny. I really like both of those movies.
Yeah. Those are the ones with the best music. No offense to Carter.
Right. But Carter Burwell was nominated for 3 Oscars. The music for Carol,
Okay.
which is a great movie.
Yeah, and has a memorable score as well.
Oh, just wait. 3 billboards
Mm-hmm.
outside of Ebbing, Missouri, and Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And the music was excellent from that movie.
He's a McDonough guy.
That's right. And before you ask, yes, he also did do the music for the Goofy movie.
Oh, I was actually thinking about that. I was gonna ask that.
He's done so much stuff. Like, you would be super surprised.
Kaylee just went, "Oh my god."
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, yeah. For Twilight, the music, like the soundtrack, included lots of artists that Stephenie Meyer listened to while writing the novel. So that's why randomly, like, Linkin Park and Muse are in this movie.
Yes.
Like, why is Radiohead on the credits?
I read that Haley Williams reached out independently because she had read Twilight and liked it and wanted to have a song in the movie.
I mean, Decode by Paramore that should have gotten the Oscar for best song. I love that song.
And I think it was Nikki Reed who suggested the Iron and Wine song.
Yeah, Flightless Bird or whatever.
It was Nikki Reed, or it might have been Kristen Stewart. It was one of them.
I forget what the whole title of that song
I don't remember.
is. But I'm making fun of it, but I'm not joking when I say that, like, a lot of those songs were on my iPod.
Supermassive Black Hole by Muse was on my playlist until like 2 years ago.
Like, a lot of these songs were on my iPod. Even the Radiohead song was. I think it's called like 7 Steps or something.
Really?
Like, legit, yeah.
I listened to my first Radiohead song like a few weeks ago.
Well, what can I say? I'm like really cool and edgy.
Yeah. You're a Kid A fan or?
Yeah, my favorite, Kid A. Is that the one with like the really gross cover?
I don't know.
The soundtrack actually debuted at the very top of the Billboard charts.
As it should.
I guess because I streamed it so much.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not even kidding. Like, it's so embarrassing. Twilight stars Kristen Stewart, who, besides being best known for Twilight, is probably best known for what?
Being Kristen Stewart.
Yeah. She's
best known for Twilight, period.
She was in Panic Room as a kid.
Yes.
Which is
I
a
forgot
great
about that.
movie.
Yeah. Who was it? Naomi Watts?
Jodie Foster.
I was thinking of The Ring.
Yeah, that's another good movie. I loved Panic Room. It was really good.
It was good. Jared Leto, right?
Yeah, and Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
And then she did a couple things like Adventureland, and
I loved Adventureland.
It's really good.
That was the movie that I watched when we were doing our 2000. That was 2009.
Mm-hmm.
When we were doing our 2000s watch that we never really finished.
Yeah.
That was the one that I watched, and I was like, you know what? Kristen Stewart's really good. Like, that whole thing where you say, like, if you think that somebody really famous is bad at what they do, there's something out there. There's something out there that is going to prove that wrong. And for me, at first it was Adventureland, but then in Spencer, she was amazing.
Yeah, so Spencer came out a couple years ago, maybe a year or two.
I think it was 2 years ago.
And it's a really excellent take on a biopic.
Yeah. I'm well over biopics, but if you can put it in a way that is fresh and different like Spencer did, I'm all in.
And it's almost, Spencer's like a gothic horror take on psychological gothic horror movie about a Christmas weekend that Princess Diana had to spend with her in-laws.
Yeah, and it's of course highly like stylized and everything, but it's supposed to be.
It's an excellent movie. Yeah. I really liked it. And Kristen Stewart was amazing.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson is also the co-star of Twilight. He, of course, became famous from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, playing Cedric Diggory. And then he kind of blew up from Twilight, of course. And since then, he's made a name for himself with movies like Good Time.
Movies that are a little bit more off-kilter.
Yep.
Remember, he was in Remember Me.
He was in, we want to forget that.
Yeah.
But we really liked him in Good Time.
Yes.
And The Lighthouse. He was excellent in that with Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe in that movie is like all-time insane.
And then now he's the Batman.
He is.
He's also known for the time that I went to see Jimmy Kimmel Live and he was a special guest.
Him and Mike Coulter?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't even there.
Yeah, I was there, and it was awesome. He was very strange, but
it was when he was promoting
Good Time, and he told this wild story about something that like was cut from the movie, so we didn't even need to know. And and I was like, I'm never gonna watch that movie, and then I did, and it was actually really good.
Yeah. He also remember when he was in Tenet, and he said that he had no idea what was going on in the movie.
He's like unhinged.
He's great.
It also stars Billy Burke and Peter Facinelli. Of course.
My Italian brother.
Yes, I don't really like that character.
Carlisle.
Yeah, he freaks me out. Of course, those Team Jacob fans out there will be angry if I don't mention Taylor Lautner.
Yeah.
But he was really a supporting...
Husband of Taylor Lautner.
Yes, he was a supporting role in this one.
He was. I didn't remember that he was in this so little. I saw it like in high school.
His big one is the next one.
Yeah.
New Moon is really where he's big, and then he stays in
I'll
it.
say, I thought he was great in this, in his limited role.
I do too, I gotta say.
I can see them like coming off at Twilight and being, oh, we nailed this with him. Like, he's going to be great in the next one. I don't know if he is or not, but I liked it. He was one of my favorite parts of this movie.
His storyline takes a turn.
Okay.
The supporting cast also has Anna Kendrick, Gil Birmingham,
yes,
who we love.
We love Gil Birmingham.
Nikki Reed, and many others, including Susie Crabgrass from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Including a guy named Jackson Rathbone.
Yeah, Jackson Rathbone, who is
which is somehow not a Twilight name. That's a real name.
Guess what? Guess what? He's related to Basil Rathbone.
Who's Basil Rathbone?
He used to play like Sherlock Holmes, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then
he's a nepo baby.
Yeah, he also was related to Stonewall Jackson.
What?
I swear.
You're talking about Jackson Rathbone? Yeah, you're right. He is distantly.
So that's why he probably was named Jackson.
He's also distantly related to Basil. He's not like
it's it's Rathbone.
Yeah.
His
Jackson... great grandfather was the chairman of Standard Oil, which became Exxon.
So this man is rich. He also just goes like.
Yeah, the whole
in the movie just staring like awkwardly.
He was on a JetBlue flight from Austin to Long Beach when its engine exploded.
Oh, that's kind of crazy.
Everyone survived. That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. And did you see that he was in the running for Edward?
Was he? I didn't see that. Oh, wait, no, I might have. That
was one of the top 4.
That does ring a bell. Yeah. I did see the top 4. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Twilight was originally optioned to become a movie before the book was even published.
Wow.
Someone had an unpublished manuscript and was like, "Oh, we gotta do this." And the script was written for MTV Films, but it altered the content so much that it barely resembled the original book.
Well, it's funny because when I think of MTV Films, I think of like kind of like teen stuff like this.
They actually make really good
Hustle
movies.
and Flow was an MTV movie, and that movie was gritty.
Yeah.
So MTV Films could have made this into something like it is, or even grittier. But
the way that it was described on the Wikipedia page made it feel like if Twilight met Point Break.
Oh man.
Like Bella ends up like
surfing.
No, it's like it goes hard like with the action sequences.
Oh, okay.
Like they're like shooting people and it's like it becomes like an action movie. I think the FBI's involved at one point. Like it takes a lot, which vaya con Dios.
We've been saying that constantly.
I am an FBI agent.
Please listen to our Point Break episode. It's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
Well, and now I see it everywhere. Like the new season of Southern Charm, I was telling you, Shep, he's one of the cast members. He's like a 50-year-old man, bachelor pad, has a huge picture of the two, Bodhi and Johnny. When they're skydiving with
holding
hands.
Amazing. Amazing.
And I was like,
we got to get that in here somewhere.
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. So that was going on for a while. And then it's kind of Overseer was Paramount Films. They're the ones who bought the rights at first, and MTV Films, I guess, was under it. So once Paramount let their film rights lapse in 2007, that's when Summit Pictures picked up the rights. And so they began a more faithful adaptation. Melissa Rosenberg I'm not saying she rushed the script, but she
6 weeks.
She made sure it was done because she knew that a writer's strike was about to happen. And she wanted to get it in before the writer's strike.
Yeah.
She's very involved with the WGA.
Listen, nothing gets you going like a deadline.
I'm telling you. So Twilight was shot in Oregon and Washington in 2008, and you can tell it feels very like
PNW.
Yeah, exactly. And the movie was released in November of that year. It was a huge success commercially, raking in $408.4 million on a $37 million budget. At that point, it was like one of the top like midnight release or pre-sale movies. Of course, it's been passed by now.
Yeah,
but,
especially now that like pre-sales have been like regular things now.
And at the time, it beat Deep Impact for like the amount of money for a female director.
Oh wow.
So
was that Catherine Bigelow?
No, it wasn't. I looked it up. It was Mimi something.
Oh, okay.
Someone I didn't really know. And so it was like a really big movie at the time.
Yeah.
Critically, Twilight was a little bit less successful. It netted a 49% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but audiences gave it an A- on CinemaScore. Like, to me, that makes Twilight a cult classic.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
If it's really poorly received by critics. I
but
know it was a success.
But it did extremely well at the box office.
Still, I feel like...
I'm going to say no on this one.
Okay. The movie cleaned up at the MTV Movie Awards and the Teen Choice Awards. And in fact, this is the second movie this month that won Best Kiss at the MTV Movie Awards.
September 2023. Remember that we did 2 movies that won Best Kiss at the MTV Movie Awards.
And Twilight was also nominated for 2 Grammys. No Oscars, a shame, but
Crazy.
You know, it is what it is.
Crazy. Its 2 leads are both Oscar nominated.
That is true.
Or no,
well, it's Robert
not yet. Not
Robert
yet.
Pattinson should be.
He will be eventually.
There have been a total of 5 movies in the Twilight saga, with the last book.
5?
Yeah, the last book was broken into 2 movies.
I always thought there were more than that for some reason.
So it's Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn Part 1, Breaking Dawn Part 2.
The Harry Potter playbook.
It is, yeah. Overall, they have made $3.346 billion. A TV series is apparently in the works that's based on the series. And me personally, I missed Midnight Sun, which is Twilight told from Edward's perspective, but I have read all 4 books in the quadrilogy, and I'll talk about my experience with Twilight.
Please
sure,
yeah.
As we kind of get in there. I can do the New Jersey connection if you want.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
Because there is none. So, all right, here's my New Jersey connection.
Are we going to do another, 6 degrees of New Jersey?
Kinda. It's, pathetic. So, we're going to get connected for free. Free. New Jersey connection. All right. So, Catherine Hardwicke, the director of the movie, she went with Jackson Rathbone, who was in contention to play Edward, but ended up playing... what's his name?
Jasper.
Oh God. Ended up playing Jasper.
Sorry to any Jasper listeners.
There's a whole thing with Jasper and his backstory that is in 2023 is a no.
Oh no.
It's crazy. But we're not talking about those movies. We're talking about Twilight.
Oh, it's in the movies?
It's in the books too, but it's in a later.
No, I wasn't sure if it was.
Oh no, it is.
Okay.
So she and Jackson Rathbone went to meet Kristen Stewart in Philadelphia.
Just close.
That's my connection. While Kristen Stewart was shooting Adventureland, to kind of start to see if she was going to be interested and going to be a good fit for the role of Bella.
All right.
So Philadelphia is right over the bridge.
Part of New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
As we all know.
Yeah. So you just got connected for free. The New Jersey-ish connection.
That's the worst one yet.
It's the worst. I could not find anything tough. I was even going into Adventureland's Wikipedia page. I'm like, did that take place in New Jersey? No, it took place in Pennsylvania. And then I'm like, all right, well, there are people from Adventureland that were from New Jersey. No, it was just a terrible. I'm even like, I know Robert Pattinson's British, but I'm going to click on his Wikipedia page anyway. I don't know. So that's what I got. All right. I don't know how long this Twilight summary is going to be.
No, it's not terrible.
Okay.
Twilight. Well, actually, let me do the taglines first. 2 of them are really bad. One of them is actually pretty good.
All right.
This is the worst tagline because I feel like you could put it on any poster ever.
Yeah, and it would be like, okay, that kind of fits.
Nothing will be the same.
Yeah.
I could see that on Lethal Weapon. I could see that on Insidious. You know what I mean?
Well, it does fit, but it's not very good.
Forever Begins Now.
I don't like that one either.
But it's supposed to be like it. Still together forever.
Yeah, because of vampires.
The only one that I kind of liked is When You Can Live Forever, What Do You Live For?
Kind of like that one. That's good.
Yeah. So overall, not great, but that one's fine.
Not bad.
I can respect that last one. Now, would those get you to see the movie?
Honestly, the trailer probably would.
Yeah.
I don't just go off a tagline.
Right.
You know?
But a tagline's part of the marketing strategy.
Yeah, it's fun, but that's usually in conjunction with the poster, and then you go see the thing, whatever. But I would see the movie from the marketing, and totally.
And you did.
Oh, I was at the midnight show.
Okay. 17-year-old Bella Swan, played by Kristen Stewart, leaves Phoenix, Arizona, and moves to Forks, Washington, to live with her father, Charlie. Her mother, Renee, is divorced and remarried and often on the road with her new husband, who's like a minor league baseball player or something like that.
Random.
Bella becomes reacquainted with Jacob Black, played by Taylor Lautner, a Native American teen who lives with his father, Billy, on the Quileute Reservation near Forks. I believe I got that right. I even wrote down like the pronunciation of it. She makes friends at her high school, but finds the mysterious Cullen siblings particularly interesting. In biology class, Edward Cullen, played by Robert Pattinson, is seated next to Bella. He seems repulsed by her, and then he misses a week of school.
He like seems like she the way he acts is like she smells really bad.
Yeah, and she like sniffs, she like smells her shirt.
Yeah, and then he's like absent for a week.
As one does. When he comes back, he talks normally with her and everything seems to be all right.
He's like, "Hello, I am Edward Cullen. I am sorry if I was rude to you."
Yes.
Like, okay.
Okay.
I would just be like, I have the weirdest guy as my lab partner.
This pale guy. He's like cold. A few days later, she's almost hit by a van in the parking lot, but Edward instantaneously covers a long distance to stop the van with his hand. He refuses to explain himself, warning her against befriending him. Meanwhile, Jacob tells Bella about a long-standing feud between the Quileutes and the Cullens, and that they aren't allowed on the reservation. After Edward appears out of nowhere and saves Bella a second time, Bella hits the books and realizes that Edward is probably a vampire.
It's just like, yeah, Bella, like
He eventually confirms.
Although during that part, do you see that she actually went to a small business for her?
She did.
She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna look for this vampire book. I could order from Amazon or Barnes and Noble." She's like, "No, I'm gonna actually go to the indigenous store that has it."
One of the other links.
I was like, "Go, Queen!"
One of the other links there was the publisher who published the book.
Oh, that's
it
fun.
was a little Easter egg. Yeah. So Edward eventually confirms. Well, he makes her confirm when he's like,
"Say it,
say it."
She goes, "Vampire." And then he goes, "Are you scared?"
He says,
and then he's like, "You should be."
He says that
like, oh my god,
the Cullens are vegetarian vampires, meaning that they only drink animal blood, which is not.
But it's also kind of cute because like Bella's an actual vegetarian.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of funny.
Edward decides to introduce Bella to his vampire family, who is not his biological family, but his coven, essentially. Carlisle Cullen, the family patriarch, I stopped writing down actor names, is a doctor at the Forks Hospital and is married to Esme, and they have 4 informally adopted children besides Edward. They have Rosalie, Emmett, Jasper, and Alice. The family's reaction to Bella is mixed, concerned that the family's secret could be exposed. This whole time, mysterious killings have been occurring, perpetrated by 3 nomadic vampires named James, Victoria, and Laurent. I think is how you say his name. They show up where else but at the Cullens' vampire baseball game.
So
which we will get into the baseball scene. James, a tracker vampire, and his Cam Gigande, is that how you say his name? A tracker vampire with incredible hunting instincts, which I question that, but okay, is excited by Bella's scent and becomes obsessed with hunting her for sport. Edward and the other Cullens protect Bella, but James tracks her to Phoenix, where she's in hiding with Jasper and Alice. James lures Bella to an old ballet studio, pretending to have her mom held hostage. He attacks her, infecting her with vampire venom. I don't know if it's really venom, Wikipedia, but we'll go with it. That's fine. Edward arrives and, after a ferocious battle, subdues James just as the other Cullens arrive. Alice, Emmett, and Jasper brutally kill James.
Yeah.
They decapitate him and burn him all, like burn him at the stake, essentially.
It's crazy.
As Edward, and just like the background.
Yeah.
As Edward removes the venom from Bella's wrist, preventing her from becoming a vampire. In the aftermath, Bella has suffered a broken leg and is hospitalized. Kind of crazy that she only broke a leg.
I know.
Upon returning to Forks, Edward accompanies Bella to the high school prom, where he refuses her request to transform her into a vampire, which is the best scene in the movie.
Yes.
That last scene.
Yes.
They are unaware that James's mate Victoria is secretly watching them, plotting revenge for her lover's death. Twilight.
And
Radiohead.
Then it's like
Was it-
Radiohead. I'm like, okay.
That's Twilight, baby.
Okay, can I just say first of all, like,
Yeah, how good was the plot summary?
excellent. But also it really revealed something that I was thinking towards the end of the movie, which was like, okay, I read this book. I don't remember everything from the books at all, but like the book was like 500 pages.
Yeah.
Right? And then I get to this movie and I'm like, well, they had to condense it, but there's probably so much that happens. And then I'm like, not much
really
happens at all. It's like, okay, ready? Girl moves
Yeah.
She decides, she's like at school, and then she's like, oh, this guy's mysterious. And then he's like, oh, I'm a vampire. And she's like, oh, okay. And then they play baseball.
Yeah.
And then another vampire tries to hunt her down, and then they go to prom.
And that's it.
That's the entire movie.
That's the movie.
And I was like,
wait, can I just jump in and start with a question of mine?
Yeah.
Did you like James as the antagonist?
Sure. Well, what I like about the movie is that everyone's kind of an antagonist.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
He's the obstacle.
Yeah.
You know?
No, of course. But yeah, why not? I like Cam Gigonde.
I found him to be, I don't know.
The one thing when he sniffs in the air.
He is just, he's not intimidating, first of all.
But he's like, it's like, oh, he's hot. That's like the whole thing.
I guess. He's creepy.
He's got like a big ponytail.
He does. I don't know. He just feels pointless.
But he wears a leather jacket, though, I think.
Like they don't do anything about the murders. Like they don't resolve that storyline.
They say it was an animal.
No, I know that, but like you would think that there would be some like narrative wrap up. There's not. It's just it's just James gets thrown in the fire, and that's the end of the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy too is in the book they don't appear until like the last fourth of the book.
So like, they're in it earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That like they made a effort in the movie to put them in like as a through line in the story, you know, because like at the beginning people are going missing, and then they show up, and then whatever. Yeah, no.
Wow.
They don't show up till like the very end.
Wow.
It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, the first time I saw this, I was a little confused. I mean, obviously until the baseball scene, like I thought that the vampires were all together. So I didn't realize that they were like a separate thing.
Yeah, they have all different like groups and stuff. Yeah, and like the whole thing is like the Cullens own this territory.
Right. The Cullens are the big boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Carlisle. You don't want to mess with Carlisle.
Ew, Carlisle is weird, you guys. Like, I'm not even joking. I get bad vibes from him.
He's set up to be like the savior, you know, like the good guy.
He's the good guy. He's the town doctor, and and then when you find out, oh, he's like.
He's very nice.
Saved all these people, but it's like no. Like you transform them into vampires.
I don't know the backstory of the other people, but doing it to somebody who has the Spanish flu, like it's either death or that. It's probably not a choice you should be making for them,
right?
But I can understand the good intentions behind it.
I don't remember most of the other backstories.
I have no clue what
that. But like. The one that I know should not have been.
Well, I know, and the wife, it was just because she was dying, right?
Yeah. But, like, is that really fair? And then to make her your wife?
Did he make, or was she his wife already?
I don't know,
I think she was his wife already.
Really?
And it was so they could be together.
Wait, why did he become a vampire, though?
I don't know. I don't remember
I'm sure all of this was revealed, and I'm sure I knew it when I was 16.
Yeah.
I am sure
of it. From the message boards?
No, from reading the book. But whatever, that's fine. Okay, so... Here's the other thing though that really struck me when I was watching this. Something that I really liked in the movie was that when after James is like about to like, oh my God, he's gonna hunt you down, and then Edward's like, we gotta get out of here, and then he takes Bella, and then you know how she like tells her dad, like, oh, I hate it here, I'm leaving, that kind of thing. When they're driving by, Bella looks. Like as they're leaving Forks, and she sees all the high school kids that are like having fun, all her friends from high school, as she's like driving by Les Mis because this vampire is about to like eat her, right? And like she's just kind of like, well, this was the choice I made to like hang out with, to be with him. And like it made me think Bella is like the absolute like 10th degree of that girl that I was like friends with that ended up getting a boyfriend, and then you never see her again.
Yes.
And then you're just like talking to your other friends and you're like, I don't get it. Like Edward stinks, and he also is so bad at geometry, and like he's definitely a vampire,
and
like,
also every time it's sunny outside he's absent.
Yeah. And they're like, does Bella know he's a vampire? And like he's like 100 years old, he should be better at math.
Why is he courting 17-year-olds when he's 108 years old?
He's literally, he like almost died from the Spanish flu. Don't you understand we're only a few years away from another pandemic?
Yeah, exactly.
So like it just cracks me up, like that whole aspect of like Bella is definitely that girl where it's like, oh my goodness, she was really cool, and then she got this boyfriend and we never saw her again.
Yeah.
Like literally we never saw her again because this vampire was hunting her. Like I love that about this movie.
Yeah.
So okay, here's my question, my first big one. How did you feel about Twilight when it was first released, and how have your feelings evolved over the years? And I want to talk about my experience too.
As you can probably imagine, as a 16-year-old boy when it came out, I didn't react very well to Twilight.
Yeah.
Was not a fan.
Did you watch it with a girl?
I watched it with my friend's mom.
So I guess technically the answer is yes. Wait, which friend?
Jake.
Jake's mom?
It
Judy?
was like, yeah, like we hung out. Me and Jake hung out. And there was like, we had a bunch of us were over and like we stayed over or whatever. And then the next morning I was like the first one up, and then I walked upstairs and she was watching it. So I just sat down.
Oh, it was just you and Judy? Wasn't everybody?
Weston might have been there. There might have been somebody else there, but yeah.
Didn't he also have an Edward cutout?
She did. Yes. A giant, life-size, like 6 foot tall Edward Cullen cutout.
And you were just like, I don't like this movie?
I thought it was bad. It is bad, but I didn't have the same fully formed like sense of irony that I do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a good movie, like, at all, but it's great.
It's great.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I read the first book in high school. I was probably like 15, 16. And I was like, this is literature.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is literature. Like, I love this book. And I'm sure if I read it now, I would really like it too. It's just fun.
I'm sure it's fine.
It's a fun book.
Yeah. I think people get way too sort of, I don't know if it's defensive or offensive about things that are seen to be like low art, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just, I don't care, like what you like. It's probably fine.
Yeah. And so I saw the first one in the movie theaters, midnight show. And I was like, I was a little disappointed because like the acting is not good.
But it's like, so funny considering how many accolades the leads have
and
now.
How good they are. Yeah. But I can tell you this, I've only been into Hot Topic like 2 times. I was always very intimidated, and one of them was to buy a Team Jacob shirt.
I'm surprised they let that at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
That seems like a little too like
no,
mainstream for Hot Topic.
It was a whole thing. And then, so I really liked Twilight, and I would always be like, the books are really good, you guys, even though the books ended up being so bad by the end. And then it got into like, you can't say you like Twilight kind of thing. Like, I'm this like, oh, I like good movies and I like good books. So I was like, oh, I don't like, I'm so embarrassed I went to it. I would never tell anybody I would go to a midnight show of Twilight.
We need to break the stigma. Twilight is fun.
I like Twilight now. And like, I didn't see the last 2 movies. I still haven't seen the last 2 movies.
We'll have to do the whole series.
Yeah. I saw New Moon in theaters, but I didn't see Eclipse in theaters. I saw it like separately. And then I did not see any of the Breaking Dawns. It was kind of in my anti-Twilight era.
Yeah.
And now I'm fully back. I'm fully on the Twilight train. I'm into it.
The midnight sun has risen.
I'm into it. So that's my journey. That's my Twilight journey. And I feel good about it.
I feel great for you.
Yeah.
You love an arc.
I feel good. So, okay, we talked about how like the acting isn't amazing in this movie, but the actors are really good. So, name the actor you think has had the best career since Twilight.
I mean, there's only 2 options, correct?
I could think of a third option. No, I could think of 4 options.
Who are the other 2?
Gil Birmingham and Anna Kendrick.
I wouldn't put Gil Birmingham in that. I love him. He's great.
Okay, let me go through Gil Birmingham's?
His Hell or High Water is the one that I would throw him in for sure.
Yeah.
You're going through Gil Birmingham?
Yeah, I'm going through Gil Birmingham.
Most success is probably Pattinson, I would say, because he's got the sort of not underground, but like the people who are like more into that next level down of movies of like Good Time and stuff like that. And then he's Batman.
Yeah.
Like he's done it all. He's done a Christopher Nolan movie. He's a sought after actor.
Right.
And I think that Kristen Stewart has also done really well for herself, but she hasn't quite reached that like commercial level other than Twilight.
Right.
In a way that Pattinson has.
Right.
And Anna Kendrick, I think, just isn't like, she's fine, but she's not that, I don't know. I wouldn't consider her an amazing actress. Mm-hmm. Pitch Perfect did well.
Yeah.
And she's been up in the air. She was good. She's
nominated for that.
She's been good in things.
So she was nominated in Up in the Air. So we do have 2 Oscar nominated actors. So Gil Birmingham,
Gil Birmingham in this movie played Jacob's dad.
Yes. And he was a lead in Hell or High Water, and he does not get credit as the lead, and he's one of the leads.
Absolutely one of the leads.
He was in Wind River, and
he's always the Native American guy in all these like 2010s movies.
Yeah. And then he does a lot of TV. So like,
did he do? Oh no, that's the guy from Reservation Dogs that was in Dark Winds.
Yes. He was in Banshee. He was 4 episodes of House of Cards. He played Jane Krakowski's dad in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
No.
He is a series regular on Yellowstone.
Okay.
Since 2018. He also is a main role in Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yeah,
from
listen,
last year.
I'm not saying he's not a big actor.
Like I'm
just comparing him with Anna Kendrick, Kristen Stewart, and Robert Pattinson.
Who are big names.
Yeah.
But a lot of people know Gil Birmingham, and he's been in so many good things, and he's such a good actor.
You know his face.
Yeah. Totally. So I want to just shout him out.
Absolutely, he's great. And I will tell you what, not the most successful, but like I said before, Taylor Lautner's great in this movie. He has a very small part, and he's one of the best actors in the movie.
Yeah, he has a warmth to him, and
and he has a little bit of like a precociousness,
a boyishness,
without being over the top.
Yeah, I liked him in this movie a lot.
At least by comparison to everyone else who's way over the top.
Right.
Like James is as over the top as it gets in this movie.
Right. What was your favorite scene in this movie?
It's the end scene when they're dancing at the prom.
Why was that your favorite scene?
It's the only scene in the movie that is particularly has like stakes to it. Mm-hmm. Because you're like, oh my God, is he going to turn her or is he not going to turn her? And it's rare, and I'm going to get to this later in my deep dive, but it's rare that somebody wants to be turned into a vampire.
Yeah.
It's so like anathema to the idea of the vampire, which has always been a monster and an other and an outsider. And I think that that's a really compelling idea and a compelling scene. And I think they do it in a way that is like, will they, won't they?
Yeah. But in a different way. Yeah.
That's definitely the one that was the most, I mean, it's
the
baseball scene is the best scene in the movie. But I'm going to go.
Most random scene.
But I'm going to have to go with the prom scene.
I agree with you. I also, as a person who is a queen of low stakes cinema, I just like when they're hanging out at the high school.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole movie. And that's why I thought that the high stakes part in the end, and it's high stakes, but it's very like tense and intimate. It's not like high stakes, like, oh my God, we're destroying the ballet room.
Yeah, which
was fine. That
was fine.
I liked the choreography in that.
Me
actually,
too.
But
I find that a little strange. I find there's so many things about the movie that like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like she never mentions ballet the entire time. She also trips and falls 75 times in the movie. So if you're doing that, then why is it like the ballet studio where I used to take dance lessons? You have shown the opposite of being graceful the whole time. Why? What matters about the ballet studio?
I don't know.
Nothing.
It's just a cool place to have a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's mirrors, and it's like, so that doesn't make sense to me. But whatever.
Also,
I kind of like to just get rid of reality.
You kind of have to do that. You have to suspend disbelief.
So
with movies like
I'm
this.
good with that.
I mean, you're believing that there's these vampires who shimmer in the sunlight and they're over 100, 300, 400 years old.
Right,
and,
right.
You can suspend disbelief for something like that. But
also,
I was just gonna say that, like, James is supposed to be this master hunter. All he had to do is be like, oh, I have your mom. Here's this tape recorder. Like, it's not like he's...
Right.
And, oh, I'm going to go back to where she lived.
Right.
Like, it's not like he's this master, like, manipulator or... I thought I'm not... Maybe that's why he got.
Yeah.
Because he didn't actually live up to his reputation.
But also, maybe the Cullens are just really good vampires and can figure out stuff.
Maybe. I guess.
But also, like, why did Laurent... Like,
there's no reason for Laurent to do that.
He flipped on James like right away. Like they go back to the Collins house and Laurent is there. He's like, ugh. Oh,
James is getting super annoying.
James is like really annoying. So like I'm telling you that he's gonna hunt Bella. Bye.
Also, Laurent, it looked like the leader, right? Because he was in the middle. In the book, I think James is the leader.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I don't understand it.
Okay, but also, do you know what like my favorite random line is?
My monkey man.
No, my monkey man's really good. My monkey man is so good. That's during the baseball scene. Yeah, that was weird. No, it's when Elizabeth Reese or Esme, she like is welcoming Bella to her house, and she goes, "We made Italiano food." What?
That is well, that's great because she doesn't know what that is. Like, she's a vampire.
We made Italiano food.
She's trying to be like a human, a person, you know?
It's so good.
That is actually
so
really
good.
clever.
I love it.
No human would ever say that.
Yeah. And also that you don't know this, Tom, but if you
How do you know I don't know this?
You don't know this.
Okay.
Do you know Elizabeth Reeser?
Maybe.
At all? This was a time where like she was at the height of her powers because she was a pivotal like guest role on Grey's Anatomy on a very important like storyline.
And the wife of another famous doctor, Carlisle Cullen.
There you go. See? So when Esme was there, people were probably like, yeah. And then she was like, I made Italiano food.
Everyone's screaming in the theaters. Let's go.
I forget exactly what she played. I think she had like either burns or something, or she had amnesia and couldn't figure out who she was, and it was like hard to tell who she was or something. I forget what the storyline was on Grey's Anatomy. She was a patient, and it was a whole big thing. It became huge. I don't know. Okay, so who's your favorite Cullen?
Who's my favorite Cullen?
Yeah.
Who is yours?
Mine.
We got some Alice fans in our replies on Instagram.
Okay, so let's see. So there's Alice. Alice is like the one who like loves Bella and is like totally down.
She's the
like,
one who
quirky,
can like tell the future.
And she does like cartwheels and stuff.
Yeah.
And she can like tell the future. Yeah. Yeah, she's fine. And then her boyfriend is Jasper. And Jasper's the newest vegetarian.
Yeah.
Which means that he has been eating people, right?
Well, it also means he's probably the most recently turned.
He's not.
Oh, okay.
He's not, Tom.
Okay.
He's not.
Okay. So I guess he's been eating people.
Since the 1860s,
Okay.
Tom.
Okay.
If that gives you any.
So how old is Carlisle? He's got to be like 300-400 or something.
He's got to be mad old, bro.
Okay.
He's probably been a doctor for a long time. He probably created
He saw
an
medicine.
MRI machine and was like,
He probably created medicine.
what? He's like, yo, Dr. Quinn medicine woman, look over here.
Yeah, exactly.
See what they're doing over here?
It's crazy.
So no, he's just the latest vegetarian, which means he's been feasting for
Nibbling
a while.
on
Yeah.
on human flesh.
And he just acts scared the whole time. Like he's afraid that he's gonna eat people.
Bella,
yeah.
specifically.
And then Emmett, who's just a jock.
That's Kellen
Lutz.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's the monkey man.
He's my monkey man.
He's just like, he's like, I'm
He's
jumping.
wild.
He like just stands on the Jeep
Yeah.
to get to school.
Yeah.
And then there's Rosalie. That's Emmett's girlfriend.
Yes.
And she's
correct.
played by Nikki Reed. And she's just mad. She's big mad.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like she kind of has a crush on Edward?
Probably.
Like, I forget.
Edward's better than Emmett.
I don't really like any of them, to be honest. But Rosalie, I forget the books. Maybe she did have a crush on Edward at some point. I don't remember. That kind of sticks out in my mind a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up.
Listeners, please, Babysitters Club, please let us know if Rosalie had a crush on Edward in the books.
And then there's, I made Italiano food,
Yes.
Esme, and
The
then
queen.
there's Carlisle.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them. Oh, and there's Edward. I don't
Yeah.
like any of them. Who do you like?
I'm going to go with Alice. She does cartwheels and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and she's the pitcher.
She is the pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I don't like any of them either.
I find them not cool.
I find them repulsive.
Yeah, they're annoying.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, how about your favorite character overall?
It's Jacob. He's my favorite character.
Okay.
And I like him, and I like Gil Birmingham. I like the two of them.
Okay. The Blacks.
Yeah.
Jacob and what's his dad's name?
Like Billy or something.
Jacob and Billy Black. Okay.
Yeah.
I like them, but I also like Charlie Swan.
Okay.
That's Bella's dad. I find him to be like, if I right now became a Twilight fan, I would not be Team Jacob. I would not be Team Edward. I would be Team Charlie, because he's got a mustache, and I think he looks good, and I think he's a nice dad, and I think he's really trying for his teen daughter.
Yeah.
He was like, he literally was like, I made your room and I talked to the sales lady and she said that you might like this comforter. Do you like purple? And I'm like, that's so cute.
He also could have just asked her beforehand if she likes purple, but it's okay. It's fine. We'll accept it.
You know, like they go to the same diner to get food, and like the waitress is there, and she's like, oh, he talks about you all the time.
He can't keep her away from the vampire, though. That's the issue.
Look, there's flaws there. Nobody's perfect.
No, he's a good guy, though. I like him in this
but
movie.
He's a really sweet guy, and I love him.
And he's friends
with Bella does him dirty.
And he's friends with the guy in the Kiss Me I'm Irish shirt.
That dies.
Yeah. Waylon.
That's sad.
Yeah.
And then,
isn't Victoria? I think Victoria wears that shirt later in the movie after they kill him. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So honestly, Tom, like that's all I got for questions.
Okay, we're also pretty far into the episode, so.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Is Monte Carlo Casino the worst prom theme of all time?
It's not good.
Like for high school.
First of all, should you really be doing a gambling thing for a high school?
That's what I mean.
You know, probably not.
Yeah, it would be like having a I don't know, what Mardi Gras theme, but like go all in on the New Orleans aspects of it. The Bourbon Street. It would be like having a Bourbon Street theme.
Yeah, that's probably not great. Some prom things are so lame, like Under the Sea.
Well, it's one thing being lame.
Hollywood.
It's one thing being lame, but it's another thing being completely inappropriate.
Yeah. Can you think of one that's worse?
No. Maybe Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't think it actually is a prom theme.
I'm just thinking of bad prom themes.
When I think of prom themes in general, it's always like Springtime in Paris.
Yeah.
Or
Masquerade,
or a night with the stars, and it's Hollywood themed, or like either Under the Sea or At Sea, like kind of like a
nautical theme.
It's always stuff like that.
All right. What are some of your favorite vampire movies?
I'm like forgetting every vampire movie I've ever seen.
Well, we can go with TV shows too. So there's like What We Do in the Shadows. There's like True Blood. I don't know if you watched that.
I did watch that. So I really liked What We Do in the Shadows, both the movie and the show.
We should do the movie at some point.
They're excellent. They're really funny. They're mockumentary style. Very, very funny. I did like True Blood. I watched it way too young. And do you know what's kind of awkward? One of my teachers used to call me Sookie because Sookie's last name is Stackhouse. So he would call me Sookie in school. And
who is that actor?
It's Anna Paquin.
Okay.
And like the lead.
Yeah.
It's Sookie Stackhouse. And so he'd be like, hey, Sookie, blah, blah, blah. And like, I think that's actually really cute, but also like, that's just not appropriate.
Not appropriate.
But I didn't care. It was nice. So yeah, that's a cool one.
Did you ever see any of the Draculas?
No. I did not see any of the Hotel Transylvanias.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. I did see Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
That's good.
Let the Right One In.
Oh, I loved Let the Right One In.
That's one of those that just has gotten away from me. It's been on every watch list I've ever had.
It's excellent. I watched it in college, actually. Freshman year. Just by myself on my laptop.
The Dracula movies, What We Do in the Shadows. Blade. Did you see any Blades?
No.
They're all right.
I always thought Blade Runner was a vampire movie too.
No, it's because of Blade.
Yeah.
I like Near Dark.
I've never seen it. That's Catherine Bigelow.
Bigelow hit. I like Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, that's good.
The show is great. If you haven't seen the Interview with the Vampire show, it's on, might be like Sci-Fi or something. It is awesome, and it sounds stupid because it's on Sci-Fi or it's on AMC. So AMC's good. We're good with AMC. Interview with the Vampire is a great show. It's not gonna get like enough love at the Emmy. Like, it's not gonna get any love at the Emmys, but it really, really should. And I'm someone who I am not really into, like, it's hard for me to get into TV shows, but I am all in on Interview with the Vampire.
The movie was good. I remember the movie.
I think it's better than the movie.
Cool.
It's an updated version of the movie. So the movie is very 90s, and it's Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and Christian Slater, so it's great.
And Kirsten Dunst.
Who is really creepy in that movie, and Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
And the movie's great, but I prefer the show. The show is a 21st century version of it.
Yes.
The movie, the show and the movie take place in like the 1800s or something, but the themes that are tackled in the 21st century one to me are more interesting than the ones in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's. Werner Herzog did Nosferatu the Vampire in the 70s, which is an awesome one too. That's all I've got for.
Way less than I thought there would be for a vampire.
I'm sure we could have came up with more, but we didn't really prepare that much for that. So, but I think that pretty much hits a lot of a lot of the bigger ones.
And it turns out I like a lot of them.
I like vampire lore.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
interesting.
Castlevania is another show that I've watched that's great, and a bunch of video games. I love gothic horror and gothic stuff, so it's probably something I should get more into that I know I would like, but I just haven't seen.
Yeah.
I like vampires as a concept.
Me too. It's cool.
What else? Okay, I don't really have a question, but can we talk about the baseball scene?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just playing baseball during a thunderstorm with Muse playing in the background.
But it's so convenient that they're playing it during a thunderstorm, obviously to mask like the hitting and all that. But it's like
that's why.
I guess, right?
I thought it was because like lightning gives them extra power or something.
Well, it's weird because it's like the only thunderstorm where there's no rain.
Yeah, there's no rain.
There's zero rain. Must be dry lightning, you know?
Yeah.
When it's like really hot.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're right. And then at some point, like one of them goes, "You see why we have to play during a thunderstorm?" But I guess we didn't.
It's because they hit the ball really hard, I think.
And then it masks the sound. Like if there's thunder, they can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes more sense than mine.
But it barely makes sense. And then they don't have 18 people on the field.
They literally have like 5
There's
people.
like 6 Cullens. I guess it doesn't matter because they can cover all the field. But
yeah.
they can hit it further, so it kind of makes... I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
What
get
are the teams?
Emmett and Edward are on the same team. I know that.
Right.
Because they jump into each other.
And then Rosalie goes, "My monkey man."
Yeah, and I guess that means that Alice is on their team because she's pitching.
Right.
And then after that, I don't. That's all I got.
Like Carlisle.
Are they like fielding grounders, or is everything like a 400-foot line drive?
I don't know. And it's like in the middle of a forest.
Yeah.
Very hard to find.
Yeah.
But that shows you James is a good hunter. They found him.
But
They're like, "We need to play baseball with you."
They didn't find them. It looked like they just walked. They like wandered into that area.
I love the way they walk.
Yeah, where they're like floating.
Yeah.
And they're like on it's like they're on like the airport conveyor belt.
It's like amazing. And then there's like this cool music and there's wind blowing their hair back.
I read that they put on shoes that were like painted with feet on the outside of it, so it looked like they were barefoot.
That's wild.
And Catherine Hardwicke painted the shoes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. I like the idea that they're like, "We need to find a baseball game to play." Like, "Oh my God, they're over there. Let's go."
We are completely satisfied from the blood of the people that we've been killing. The only way to get out the spare energy and the calories is to play a nice game of America's pastime. Oh man. And with a British band playing too. So
yeah, it's
Muse is British, right? They gotta be.
Yeah.
They gotta be British.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I love the baseball scene.
Me too. It's
fun. Absolutely the best. It should have been longer.
Yeah, I hate that it's cut off the way it is.
Yeah. Is there a director's cut of this movie? There probably is an extended edition.
I'm sure there is.
But yeah, no, it deserves everything. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah,
it deserves everything.
It deserves every piece of ink that's ever been spilled about it.
There's probably like 5 BuzzFeed articles about it.
My God, so far.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's what everyone talks about this movie when they pass the Edward and Bella thing. But there's a reason for it.
Right.
Because it's the best.
Yeah.
That's the one scene I would show somebody who was like, I don't know about Twilight. You got to watch.
Wait a second.
Hold on. Yeah.
My monkey man.
My monkey man. Oh, man. That's brutal. Brutal stuff. Okay. So we have a couple of comments from people who wrote to us on Instagram at Baby's First Watch List. So one of our friends, Jacqueline, said, "Twilight is a cinematic masterpiece. Fight me." We don't need to fight.
I agree.
I got nothing to say.
I love it.
Twilight is a cinematic masterpiece.
I love it.
In its own way.
Yes, in its own special way.
So we also have our somebody else, Amy, who said, "The scene. You know the one."
It's got to be the baseball scene,
It is
right?
I got confirmation. It is the baseball scene. We just talked about it. People love it. It's a crowd pleaser. It's the best. Another person on Instagram, Lucas, said, "Make everything about Alice Cullen, please and thanks." We've got some Alice stands out there.
That's fine.
Is Alice more involved in the later books and movies?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have any frame of reference for that, but
yeah,
she does cartwheels. She pitches. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she sees the future.
Yeah, but kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
It's based on people's choices. So like your choices
Right.
can change the future,
Right.
which is the worst superpower.
Yeah.
If you can see the future, you want to be able to see the future. It's such a plot device to be like, oh well,
Yeah.
you
That
know.
they're gonna change something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Then we also had two people say the question that I had also written down: Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I was Team Jacob, and I'm sure watching the first one, like you can see why. Like he's actually nice to Bella, likes her.
Yeah.
Like
There's like the slightest bit of chemistry,
little
which
bit.
does not really exist between Edward and Bella.
And
I
yeah,
I can tell you that
he's got a boyish charm.
Robert Pattinson feels like he's in hell in this movie.
He hated it. It feels like he absolutely hated it.
Yeah, knowing like seeing him in other roles now, having the context of him, and you can see when he like in The Lighthouse, he's having so much fun.
Right.
Like,
well, and I feel like if he did this movie now, he would be able to like
do something.
Yeah. Like even if he acted like weird Edward, you know, he would be kind of in on the fun of being like, hey, I'm just going to enjoy myself doing it. I don't think he enjoyed himself.
Well,
based on what I saw on the screen.
And based on what he has said.
Yes.
Also, I think that it's sort of a self-reinforcing thing because had he not done Twilight, he wouldn't have been able to have the freedom
100%.
and the confidence to do the other stuff that he did later on.
100%. And I really like Robert Pattinson. I think he's a great actor.
I think he's great. I find him to be extremely interesting in most roles that he's in.
Yeah.
I
find him interesting in this one.
Hey, how'd you know I was talking about this one? I hate Cedric Diggory. I actually do. I do not like that character at all. Kill the spare. I agree.
Oh my god.
But I haven't seen the rest of them, so I don't have a full picture. But in this one, I've been talking big about Taylor Lautner this whole time. I'm Team Jacob in this movie.
Wow.
I thought that he was going to be in this movie a lot more.
Yeah. Well, he becomes a lot more later.
No, of course.
I just didn't
realize it took a whole movie to get there.
Like Jacob is so likable in this one, and then some of his stuff later on, it's just he goes through. So spoilers, if you haven't,
I know
seen
some spoilers.
So one of the things is like he turns into a wolf.
Yeah, well, I know that.
Right.
Well, in this movie at the end,
oh my god,
when they're in the parking lot and Jacob is talking to Bella, and they're just talking or whatever, like they're normal, and then Edward comes over and he's like, "I'll take it from here," and he like turns his shoulder and like pulls her away. And then he looks back at and they like stare down. And then Edward turns back to Bella and he goes, "I leave for 1 second and all the wolves are out to get you," or something like that. And I'm like, oh my
god. Yeah. So and he becomes kind of emo.
Okay.
From that. And then there's the whole thing with
imprinting. I know that stuff.
Later on. There's also again spoilers here, but like Bella ends up having a baby girl and
Renesmee.
And she names the baby Renesmee after her mom Renee and Edward's mom Esme. Renesmee. And they made the baby. I don't want to, like, you have to look at a picture of Renesmee in the movie. Tom, you're not ready. Like, I'm not even joking.
Let's see.
Like, I was what?
Oh my God.
Like, what's happening?
What?
Yeah.
This is insane. If you have not seen this, I mean, I would assume that most people listening to this have probably seen the whole series.
I can't.
But oh my God, I did not know this.
Yeah. So it goes off the wall here.
Oh my God.
Like you weren't
ready. It's like an impressionist painting.
It's truly like I don't understand.
I'm gonna see that in my nightmares tonight.
There's so much, and just not with Jacob, but just in general. There's cringy stuff in the first one, but it's like, fun. Some of the stuff is really,
on Earth.
Really cringeworthy.
Twilight,
really bad.
This movie is like weird and dumb, but it's on Earth.
All the stuff with like the wedding and all the stuff there, and then there's stuff where like she's like because she's pregnant, like she like all the nutrients get sucked out of her, and she looks so bad. Like look it up. Like is
that Breaking Dawn?
I don't know. It's like look up Bella Twilight like pregnant, and then it like they make her look so bad.
She doesn't look that much worse than she does. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So like some of the stuff that they do later on is just very, very like cringy.
Yeah.
So I can't be. I think my conclusion is I can't be Team Edward or Team Jacob.
Yeah. As if Twilight 2008 Twilight 1 is canon and is the only canon for Baby's First Watch List right now.
It's Team Jacob.
It's the only one we've covered. It's Team Jacob.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, Bella looks happier when she's hanging out with Jacob.
She smiles, I read like 32 times in this movie, and I feel like 20 of those are with Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah.
There you go.
All right. So we're Team Jacob. Do I have any other questions? No. I know. I was saving that one for last. The only other note that I had was what I talked about. The only point where one of them is almost acting well is at the end when she wants him to turn her.
Yeah.
That was the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the Roger Ebert review. Did you see what he gave it?
2.5.
2.5 stars out of 4, which
fair. I think that's
fair. Which goes to show again that Roger Ebert, even if it's not something you could tell by the review, he didn't love it, but he understands what the purpose is. So he wrote, "If there were no vampires in Twilight, it would be a thin-blooded, no pun intended, I guess, teenage romance about two good-looking kids who want each other so much because they want each other so much. Sometimes that's all it's about, isn't it? They're in love with being in love. In Twilight, however, they have a seductive disagreement about whether he should kill her. She's like, I don't especially want to die, but if that's what it takes, count me in. She's touched by his devotion. Think what a sacrifice he is making on her behalf. On prom night, on the stage of the not especially private gazebo in the public gardens, he teeters right on the brink of a fang job and then brings all of her trembling to a dead standstill. Later on, he says, Twilight will mesmerize its target audience, 16-year-old girls and their grandmothers. Their mothers know all too much about boys like this. I saw it at a sneak preview. Last time I saw a movie in that same theater, the audience welcomed it as an opportunity to catch up on gossip, texting, and laughing at private jokes. This time, the audience was rapt with attention. Sometimes a soft chuckle, as when the principal Native American boy has well-developed incisors. Sometimes a soft sigh. Afterwards, I eavesdropped on some conversations. A few were saying, he's so hot. More floated in a sweet dreaminess. Edward seemed to stir their surrender instincts. The movie, based on the Stephenie Meyer novel, was directed by Catherine Hardwicke. She uses her great discovery, Nikki Reed, in the role of the beautiful Rosalie Hale. Reed wrote Hardwicke's 13 when she was only 14. That movie knew a lot more about teenage girls. The girl played by Reed in that movie would make mincemeat of Edward. But I understand who Twilight appeals to, and it sure will.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. When you're a reviewer, when you're analyzing a movie, it's got to be, what's the purpose of this movie?
Right.
Who is this geared towards?
Right. And does it accomplish that?
Yes. And say what you want about Twilight. And again, I said it's not a good movie, but it did exactly what it set out to do.
Phenomenon.
Yeah.
And as someone who now, I've always kind of liked this kind of vibe, but like as someone who loves irony, I love Twilight.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Tom's top 5 trivia. One of them I already said, and that it was originally named Forks.
Stupid.
You already said it. Number 2. This is kind of 2 in 1. At the cafeteria salad bar, Bella drops an apple, which Edward picks back up and then cradles in his hands, copying the cover image of the Twilight novel.
That's fine.
Catherine Hardwicke said it took 13 takes to get it right.
Oh, he did it?
Huh?
Oh, that's cool. He actually did it?
Oh, yeah. The apple on the cover of the book is not only a symbol for the forbidden. In Scandinavian mythology, the apple is a symbol for eternal youth and beauty. However, on her official website, Meyer states that she used the apple on the book cover because of the past literary connections, like how it causes trouble every time. Like in Snow White and the golden apple in Greek mythology, and I'm sure the apple in the Garden of Eden. And because to her, apple represents choice. So it's like the whole idea of this movie is choice.
Mm-hmm.
Or book, I guess. The first scenes filmed for the movie were the ballet room showdown and the baseball scene, as Cam Gigandet had to leave the set to shoot another movie.
There you go.
So they shot like the best scene and the climactic scene.
Yeah. Interesting.
And he was like, peace.
It's like, I did my job.
Yes, thank you, Cam. Nikki Reed and Jackson Rathbone learned how to play baseball left-handed for the...
Like, doesn't matter. I say like, doesn't matter, but it truly does, because like people were so mad about Ashley Greene being cast because she was 7 inches taller than Alice is supposed to be. And it was like, who cares? And they wanted Rachel Lee Cook.
Okay. They didn't get RLC, so.
Nope.
And finally, this is the only film. I almost told you this earlier, and I was like, no, I'm saving it for trivia. The only film in the Twilight franchise not to be nominated for a Razzie.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. We got to do the other ones.
Okay. Casting. There's a couple. Cam Gigandet was actually originally Emmett, and he asked to play James and Catherine Hardwicke was like, sure, dude, whatever. Victoria, Bryce Dallas Howard was offered, but said the role was too small, and then she ended up playing her later on.
In Eclipse, which was so mean because the other girl was like, I was good to do the next one.
And they were like, no, we're going to go with Bryce Dallas Howard. Okay, Bella. Lily Collins was considered, and so were Sarah Paxton, Michelle Trachtenberg, and Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
Jennifer Lawrence obviously would have been really good, probably.
I mean, of course. But I like her as a Hunger Games girly.
Well, X-Men too.
Yeah.
So she's done her franchise thing. And then Edward, among the finalists were Jackson Rathbone, who I mentioned, Ben Barnes. Then there was a fourth one, but I didn't write down who it was. And Henry Cavill was Stephanie Meyer's first choice. But
of course.
He was already 25 at the time.
Yeah.
He also turned down the role of Carlisle because he was doing the Tudors at the time.
Oh, okay.
So that's casting. All I have is the deep dive, which I cobbled together pretty quickly. When I was putting the baby to bed, I watched a 20-minute video. Vanity Fair put up a video for Halloween last year from someone named Dr. Laura Westerngard, who is a Gothic literary professor and vampire expert, which is one of the coolest titles I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
She examines vampires in movies, their traits, and kind of what they represent, back from the iconic 1922 Nosferatu, which the SpongeBob
Nosferatu,
all the way through cultural icon Morbius.
Oh, it's Morbin time.
Yes.
Why do we know too much stuff?
When she gets to Twilight, she discusses the way it added a twist on the vampires we had seen in the past. Mm-hmm. She describes it as follows. Twilight is an interesting phenomenon. Edward is not cast as a seductive outsider that we should avoid, but he and his family represent what we should aspire to. They have wealth, they have cars, perfect beauty, they have strength, and maybe most importantly, they have restraint.
Mm-hmm. Self-control.
Because they're vegetarian vampires, and this struck a chord. They became a cultural phenomenon. The Twilight vampires align with a lot of the depictions that we've seen throughout the centuries. In other ways, they diverge. When we get to Twilight, vampires technically can go out in the sun. It doesn't weaken them, but it does expose them for their true nature. Their diamond skin, however, plays right into that same idea that they represent the pinnacle of status and beauty. They pull Bela Lugosi's class and wealth together with the Lost Boys' flashy youth culture and create this new monster that everyone wants to either be or be with. They're the pinnacle of 21st century capitalist aspirations, which I thought was an interesting description of them. The video is super interesting. It touches on everything from Dracula to Let the Right One In to the Addams Family to What We Do in the Shadows. It's all these different depictions. Vampires have represented many things to many different authors in a variety of different works of art. Do I love the idea of shimmering vampires? I mean, not particularly. But I like the idea of the other kind of being twisted on its head as something you aspire to be rather than something you want to avoid. And it goes to show you that, again, even something that is deemed low art, like Twilight, has a ton of thought behind it. And that even for a simple story like this, there's a lot more that, there's a lot more than meets the eye, which is, I don't know, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a compelling, even if you think, like I said, shimmering vampires, okay, that's stupid. That was the whole thing when it came out. Right. Oh, sparkling vampires. But I like that there's an idea and there's lore and there's something different because things came out of this. There's how many parody things that came out of Twilight. I always like when a new idea is introduced, even if I don't necessarily love the idea.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would rather that than the same old stuff over and over again.
Yeah, so we love Twilight.
Yeah. So with that being said, does Twilight make Baby's first watch list?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It certainly does. Day one, baby.
Day one. He's over a year old. Yeah. So what takeaways do you have?
This would be my takeaway. Okay. My takeaway is don't be embarrassed of things that you enjoy. I had a couple years where I would never have admitted that I read the Twilight books and liked the movies and that I saw and, bought a Team Jacob shirt and, whatever. And now look at me. I'm embracing my enjoyment. And I think that makes us better. It's cool to like things.
Yeah, unless they're bad.
No. It's cool to like things. It's cool to be positive about things. Do you know what I mean?
Or even it's cool to not be negative towards other people.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, you shouldn't look down on people because they like the sparkling vampires.
Yeah. And I believe that to a large degree.
Good. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good takeaway. I also think that it would be sort of reasonable to sort of look at this movie and be like, definitely be more like Jacob in this movie when you're talking to somebody that you're interested in than Edward.
Yeah, definitely.
Just be cool. Just be nice. It's just everything's chill. Like you don't need to like Edward did the whole movie.
So true.
Also, don't be like Carlisle. I don't know what it is. Just don't do it.
Something's off.
Just don't do it. Okay, so that is Twilight. I thought this was great. This was very fun.
This is so fun. I was so looking forward to this.
Moving forward, we don't have a set schedule for next month yet because we're waiting to see. We have possibly a surprise in 2 weeks.
Special guest
or a special movie.
A special movie.
So we will see which one that ends up being. But next week, I'm actually just making this decision on the fly right now. Next week, we're going to do Freaky Friday.
Ooh, spooky, not spooky. It's like a nice little kind
segue into
October because freaky is like, ooh, cool.
Yeah.
But it's not scary.
I think by the time this comes out, this Twilight episode comes out, we should mostly have our schedule for next month. But on the 1st, it will be on our Instagram.
You've never seen Freaky Friday?
I don't remember.
Oh my
God. Jamie
God.
Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan?
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
You're it. You're the ultimate. It's automatic. I'm sure of it. No lie. So don't even try. You know that song?
No.
It's from Freaky Friday.
All right, so we're going to do Freaky Friday next week. And then we have all these. So, yeah, on October 1st, all of our stuff will be on Instagram.
Yeah.
At Baby Truth Watch List. And, yeah, that's it. We'll see you next week for Freaky Friday. And this was Twilight.
Goodbye, monkey man.
See you later.